Welcome to your Partner in Success Radio. I am your host, Denise Griffitts, and this podcast has been bringing you conversations with authors, entrepreneurs, mentors, and business leaders for more than 17 years. In fact, we'll be 18 years old in about 3 weeks. And I am honored to be ranked in the top 1.5% of the podcasts worldwide. And honestly, it's because of my guests. They're fantastic and fascinating. And my guest today is Josh Bronfman. He is the president and co-founder of Quiet Time and the Sleep Well brand Dreamer. I have one of his machines, and we're going to talk about those. I'm in love with it. And Josh developed the Dreamer alongside his wife after becoming exhausted new parents themselves, creating a science-informed, design-forward sound machine that started as their personal solution. And it's become a powerful sleep tool for the whole family and for squirrel-brained adults like me. And seriously, this
My apologies.
yeah. I mean, when that thing landed on my doorstep, I went, "Oh, thank God." But we'll talk about that too. But this episode of Your Partner in Success Radio is sponsored by Cynthia Kay. She is known as CK. And as the founder of the award-winning Cynthia Kay and Company media production firm, she's a leading voice in small business leadership. And with over 35 years of experience, CK empowers entrepreneurs to grow and thrive with clarity and confidence. She's not just a trailblazer in her industry, she is also someone I deeply respect. You can learn more about her at cynthiakbiz.com. Josh, before we jump in, I would love for you to share a bit about yourself and your story. In our pre-interview, I kept saying, "Oh, I need one of those." When you were telling me about it, I kept saying, "I need one of those," and bless you, you sent me one, and thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Yeah, my name is Josh Bronfman. Uh, Very lucky to be married to an amazing woman. I've got 2 kids. Henry is 3.5. Charlotte's 19 months, and so we're in the thick of things. And always been curious about different things in life. But it's interesting. I mean, I came from a background of skiing and motorcycle racing and all of these adrenaline packed activities, right? And so it's interesting, as you're giving your intro, right? Like we have a sleep machine, we have something that helps reset parents, busy adults, helps our families sleep, and we're just we're really excited with what we've learned. And I think that's the biggest thing, right? Is that we've done a lot of learning in the past couple of years about, what, like, why sleep is so important, why being having the ability to reset is so important. Um so it's a pleasure to be on the podcast with you. It is a pleasure that our device has actually helped you with
Oh,
your
it
sleep, right?
has. And here's the thing, many sleep products are baby-only territory, right? But you made the Dreamer a secret weapon for adults too. Listen, and I said earlier, I use mine nightly because I've got what experts call a squirrel brain. I don't know if that's a real really technical name, but
We love any of those terms. There's no
I
experts in that sense.
oh, geez. I definitely have one, and I've never sleeping is not one of my higher skills. It just isn't. And when I'm talking about a squirrel brain, I'm talking about that hyper one that's darting from thought to thought, which makes sleep a total crapshoot. And then once I can get to sleep, because I have to talk myself into it, I can't stay asleep. So your machine is honestly very, very helpful. And I was telling you in the green room, it had worn out, the battery ran down and I hadn't plugged it in for a couple of nights. And I could tell that I was going back to my old habits. It was bad. But how does this tame the chaos for restless or stressed I wanted to say grown-ups, but I'm not a grown-up. I'm an adult. For people like me, how does that help us?
It's interesting when I talk to people about what we do, right? I mean, our main focus and the reason this started was, we're parents and we're trying to get our kids to sleep and we're trying to um I think for a lot of parents, it's like, oh my God, I got to get my kids to sleep so that I can sleep. Right. But
Right.
that, I think when you peel back the layers of that, right, there's a lot to that. And well, I want my kids to sleep because that is the number one place where their brains are developing, right? Especially young kids. I mean, it is amazing what a good night's sleep does for a baby, but also what a good night's sleep does for, as you said, an adult, whether however your brain is working, right? But so
Right.
so for what we're doing, and it's great. Like the when we started down this path, right? This was not necessarily intended. And I think that sometimes in life that the best things are not necessarily intentional, right? That you're like, oh my God, I found so much value in doing a deep dive in whatever people choose to do that. But for us with sleep, right? Like this was not our original intention was not to dive into the science of sleep. It was just, like all these sound machines are antiquated. We wanted something that kind of had a better charging ability. We wanted something, but the science of sleep is actually really important. And what natural magical frequencies actually really do to our brains. So for Dreamer, we use 432 and 528 frequencies. And man, I'll tell you, Denise, like it is unbelievable what these frequencies actually do to anybody that has a brain, right? So parents, kids, we have a veterinarian that uses our Dreamer for her patients, right? Whether it's a cat, a dog. I mean, what we're doing is actually helping people um, calm their nervous system down, right? So it's a lowering of cortisol. It is a increase of oxytocin, which sets us up not only for amazing sleep, but also if you're like, man, I've had a really busy day. I've got a lot of things on my mind. I need 10 minutes to meditate. We throw the Dreamer on, right? Because these frequencies actually have a scientific backing for resetting our brains, for calming us down, for, if you ever had a sound bowl bath, I mean, a lot of people have done that. This is what this is, right? This is a natural um occurring frequency that just resonates so deeply with our brains. So, this is something that we kind of fell on to to be honest with you, and we run with it. And there's no other product that's doing what we're doing. So we're really proud of what we've done from a research perspective. And at the end of the day, people like yourself, people, my parents, kids. I mean, sleep is so important to our ability to function on a daily basis. And I think that we overlook that sometimes. And so we're just really proud to be able to have impacted already in our first year so many families who are struggling. And again, I think the hard thing I think in this world is there's no easy button, right? There is no I'm going to push this button and we're going to sleep. I mean, kids go through sleep regression. Kids go through teething, which I'm so glad that we don't remember that, right? Because I mean, it's an incredibly painful um, experience. But having a tool, having something that helps in any way, right? I was talking to some friends yesterday, right? And I feel like anything that, even if it's 1%, 2%, 5%, if something can help you be the best version of yourself, have your kids sleep better, that 1% means a lot, right?
Oh,
Um,
it does. With somebody like me, look, I want to say I sleep like a baby, which is probably true. I'm might be able to sleep for 2 hours, and I'm up and asking for a bottle or something. You know, can
Give me some
somebody
warm
get me
milk.
some water?
Yep.
Yeah. And then it takes forever to go back to sleep. So if I sleep, and this is no joke, I've done this all of my life. If I get 4 hours in fits and starts, I'm good to go for the next day. I really don't require much sleep, but I find myself getting irritated because I'm saying, okay, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. You really need to go to sleep now. And then my brain says, you're not the boss of me and I can't go to sleep. So it's just,
Uh-huh.
I know it's difficult. And like I told you earlier, it cuts into my reading time. So sleeping is not that important to me. But if I run a sleep deficit long enough, oh boy, that's not
It-
good.
it's one of those things that just continues to stack up,
Yeah, it
right?
does.
It is it's the camel's back, right? I mean, sleep or the lack of sleep has a tremendous impact on our brains, our body, on being
Your temper.
generally healthy, right?
Ask me about my temper when what happens to me is almost the opposite of most people. When I get too much sleep, I'm groggy for a day or two. My body does not like too much sleep. I can't explain it. It just doesn't work well for me.
Well, you've done a very good job of training your body, right? And I think everyone's different. I mean, everyone has, when you say everyone needs 7 hours of sleep,
Mm,
I don't necessarily um believe that, because I think sleep is always um very subjective,
and
right?
it's between
Where
you.
your resting heart rate is,
Right.
where your heart rate variability is. I mean, everyone's different.
Yeah, yeah. I know when
But
I was a kid, I'd go back home to visit with my family, and one of my sisters absolutely refused to share a hotel room with me because I annoyed her by not sleeping. And I'd be, up and I will get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and make a gumbo. I mean, I just go do what I want to do. It's I had vacuum. I do whatever I feel
well,
like.
we'll trade. You send me some gumbo, I'll send you more creamers.
I made gumbo yesterday. It was really good. It's in the freezer right now. But I think what you're saying, or what I heard anyway, is that the way you sleep is pretty much between you and the way you were created. Yeah, you can try to alter it a bit, but I think if you really, really try to change it in a way that's just not normal and natural to you, you're going to run into other problems. Is that true or false, or what do you think?
Oh man. Well, I think a lack of sleep, you know, one of the guys that we has been kind of our Bible, so so to speak, is this guy, Dr. Matthew Walker. And he's got a book about sleep. And the first like 2 pages, it's like, oh my God, I'm really scared. Like the fact, like what a lack of sleep can do um to your body is really scary. But I think it's also one of those, again, those subjective things where, not everybody's the same, not everybody operates the same. Um, so to blanketly say like, well, you need 7 hours of sleep, well, the quality of sleep actually really matters, right? I mean, you don't want 7 hours of sleep that
Oh, it
you're
makes
running
me
at
groggy. I mean, I might have to go to the doctor and see if I'm dying. I mean, it really does not,
a
you know, it doesn't work well for me. And what you said just now, the quality of sleep is very important. So when I do go to sleep, particularly when I've got the sound machine on, I sleep well. And you know what? And you mentioned the veterinary, I never can say that word. I've noticed the other night when I had it off for 2 nights that my cats, and I have cats, I've got Hamilton is an ass, and his brother Silas the good, and they're 20 pounds apiece. And when they start zoomings at, 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, really? I may already be awake, but still they're making a noise. I noticed that they started doing it again, but when I've got the machine on, they calm down with me. And when you don't want 40 pounds of cats leaping over your head, trust me, you don't.
Oh, I've been there.
Yeah.
I have been there. Um,
I mean, yeah, they're 40 pounds on the hoof, the pair of them. So, I tend to sleep with my arm over my face just in case.
put a pillow on top just for safety.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think that, and that was, I think sometimes the best things in life are unintentional, right? And
Right.
this was an unintentional finding, right? That we wanted to make a sound machine that was great for modern parents, people who are on the move, people who wanted a consistent sleep device. So, a lot of parents have, something that's next to their kid's bedside. But as soon as you travel, you have to get a different device. And so we kind of were in that, computer, like desktop to laptop phase, right? Where all of a sudden, like these days, if you have a desktop, it's like, well, you're either a, editing movies, or you're doing something, right? Like everyone has a laptop, right? Because you want to be able to transfer your life wherever you're going. But
These days, everybody's working on their phones.
we're on their phones, right? So
Right.
we're a mobile community, right? And so even with sleep and sleep science, like why would we have something that can't travel with us, that can't be mobile? I mean, our family, my wife is from Australia. We we travel there every year, and one of our goals was to have a consistent routine, right? And when you're traveling, like, routines are very hard. But like, if you have, for humans, it's one of those things where if you have a sound, if you have a recording, if you have something that, like, it gets you into a certain place. And again, for sleeping, like, excuse me, you have a better chance of, again, sleeping, recovering, uh,
Right.
being in a better place to actually be interactive with the world. And so, that was our goal. And the sleep science behind it was just something that we it was not anticipated, but we're so excited about it because, again, we have people who are doing this in meditations, people who are doing this, like I said, in the veterinary clinic. We have adults who are using this in a um, post surgery recovery um,
Well,
place, right?
that makes sense.
Like you're having a
And
knee surgery, right? And then all of a sudden,
right.
like, God, I'm going to PT, and you know,
Huh.
sorry, I almost swore. But you're like, oh my God, this hurts. This is complete
Yeah.
shit. I I want something that helps calm my brain down, because your body can only do so many things at one time, right? Um, so we have college athletes that are using our device during their PT. Um,
And that makes sense. I mean, I hadn't thought about that, but that does make sense. And you mentioned you going to Australia every year. Is this something you can use on a plane?
oh,
Because I'm
absolutely.
thinking there's a whole bunch of people on that plane that need to calm the hell down.
Especially when you have a 19-month-old
Yeah. Yeah.
roaming around. Yeah, it is one of those things where, you play the dreamer and the soundscapes that we have, and it goes everywhere. I think that's the great thing about what we have. What we're doing is put on a plane. When you get to your hotel room, it's right there. And I think that as parents, the great thing is that you have consistency, right? So it's the same exact sounds, frequencies every time, every night. Excuse me.
You have the hiccups. I'm gonna
I have the hiccups. It's
I
it's it's crazy when you have, two young kids, and again, there's no easy button.
no.
Um,
And when I realized that you were hiccuping, I looked at my cat, and he was yawning, and I yawned with him, so I may start hiccuping with you
well,
too.
I apologize.
No, I'm
Um,
entertained by it. I'm not making fun of you. I
I don't
think
think I've hiccuped in a long time, and it's like, "Oh God, where did that come from?" My goodness.
well,
Um,
you're not getting enough sleep, obviously. But
no, and I
oh,
think that that's kind of part of the issue, but part of the great thing, right? I mean, again, we don't. we don't offer anything that is, necessarily a guarantee, right? I mean, we
Right.
are we are hoping for that 1%, that 5% better sleep for the family, right? There's nothing in life like you have medical issues, you have whatever, like there's no easy button. Like this all takes work and sometimes there's just life that is it's just hard, right? When we talk about again the kids having teething issues, kids having sleep regressions. I mean, this stuff is hard. And so we're hoping to add value to families that appreciate that 1%.
And it's not just for baby only territory. And I think that's probably one of the most important things. And when I mentioned my cats are not zooming when I have the machine on, I didn't even realize it until we started talking today. And I went, hang on a second. They were doing it the other day, and I thought it was because it was raining so hard. I had the windows open and I woke up hearing the rain. Yeah, and but then I realized that they were very, very restless, and normally they're pretty good sleepers, but the last couple of nights without that machine, doing its job, they turned into little animals. They are animals, but they really were kind of hysterical. It was interesting, and I didn't recognize it because I hadn't talked to you about it yet. And you had talked about meditation. Look, I've got a squirrel brain. Meditation is something I don't do well either. My brain does. Honestly, I've tried it. I've tried so many different ways, and I will either fall over and drool, or I will start making my Thanksgiving list, which is the same exact list every single year. And it may be the day after, but I'm making that list. Yeah, I don't know why, but meditation is difficult for me. So let's talk about that a bit because some people like me, honestly, the only way I can really meditate, and I cheat a bit, is I go open the refrigerator door. Because you go to the refrigerator, you don't know how you got there. You don't know what you want. You're just staring into this void and going, when did I come here? What am I doing? So I figured out that that was a good way for me to unplug a bit. When I'm looking, looking at my computer, I'm looking at computer code, I'm looking at a bunch of things, and I'm not making sense. I can't even understand what I'm looking at. And I will go in there and I'll stick as much of my body, my upper torso and my face in there until the door starts chiming and says, close the door. Okay. But then I'm back alert. It helps. But that's about the only way I've ever found to do anything about trying to calm my brain down. So I'm going to turn this on. The next time I decide I'm going to the refrigerator, I'm going to turn this on and see what happens. I'll let you know.
Well, I think something like meditation is so subjective, right?
Yeah,
It
and I don't like to be told what to do. I fight with my nerve system. So, she's not the boss of me. So I don't do well when somebody says, do this, and do that. I just won't.
Well, I think, we live in a very busy world,
True.
right? There's so much noise going on, and sometimes that noise becomes a safety net, right? Like, it's like, "Oh my god, I don't live in New York, thank goodness," but there are people, it's like, Do you hear the sirens? No. Oh, well, there's a fire right across the street from you guys. You don't hear that? No, I don't hear that." Uh, but I think with the dreamer, right, that, like, we hope that people have, an ability um, to play the dreamer and reconnect with themselves. I mean, I think that's the hardest thing in the world. Like, how do you reconnect with yourself, with the world, with nature? And sometimes, I mean, I know for myself, like silence is not necessarily my friend. Um, but having these frequencies and these sounds that actually have a very significant impact on your brain, what you're doing, like it and it's not necessarily noticeable maybe the first time, the second time, the third time, but 5 times in, it's like, "Oh my god, my heart rate's gone down. My blood
Right.
pressure feels
Right.
like I feel calmer." I don't necessarily know what it is, but wow, that feels very different. And, I think with our device as well, I mean, there are a lot of things in life that are not necessarily, pointed to a specific thing, right? So we've had some people where it's like, well, there's a weird noise playing in your sound machine. It's like, yeah, that's awesome. Those are the those are the frequencies. Like, this is not a Bluetooth speaker, right? This is very intentional with what we're doing, how we're doing it, and the benefits. Again, you may not see it the first time, you may not see it the second time or third time, but man, 5 times in, it's like, wow, my heart rate's lower. I feel calmer. Why? Well, I mean, it's just these are naturally occurring, scientifically backed frequencies that actually have a very um, pointed direction as to what they do to our brains. So
Yeah,
it's
right.
fantastic.
It regulates your nervous system, and I've tried apps, I've tried all kinds of things, and I'll be honest with you, I don't want my phone anywhere near me when I'm trying to go to sleep. It's in another room. I don't want to be disrupted even though I, turn it off basically. I just don't want it near me. But this thing is about the size of an iPhone. It's not very big. It's easy to shove it in your purse or, haul it, take it with you if you're traveling, if you're on a plane, if you need to loan it to your in-laws because your kids are, cranky from flying, whatever it is. But it's very, very portable and it's cute. And it's got a lot, it really is cute. I've got the pink one, but it's, tell us about the science because I don't think this was really from what you and I have talked about. This was not something that you were deep into, but all of a sudden, once you realized the need for it, you and your wife realized the need for it, you dove deep.
Yeah, and I think that there are multiple layers with that, right? So, um, the more we learn about plastics and microplastics, I mean, it's just it permeates our world,
It
right? And
does.
microplastics are not only harmful for adults, but I mean, for kids, it's really bad. So we wanted something that was, BPA free silicone that was like, kids chew on everything, right? So if you have a device, like they're gonna put it in their mouth at some
Oh,
point.
yeah. Yeah. And so will
We
the cat, honestly.
And so will the cat, right?
Yeah.
And like I think what you mentioned with your phone is a very interesting um concept, right? Because we've had a lot of people like, in multiple layers. So I'll kind of go through that, right? Like, why would I not just play this on my phone? Well, not only is your phone emitting 5G,
Mhm.
right? So we have all these EMF radiation hindrances that affect us very deeply. The science behind that is unequivocal. So we wanted something that was we use Bluetooth Low Energy for our connected app. You don't need to use the app, but and you can also turn the Bluetooth off if you really want a completely no EMF scenario. But also, when you have a phone that's playing, there's the Calm app, there's Better Sleep. There are all these really great apps that are out there, but what they don't do is actually produce the frequencies in real time. So they're replicating them. But what we're doing is we're playing our frequencies in real time. So we have a golden ratio sound port that pops out. It's very similar to actually what Bose did back in the day. Um, it actually resonates the frequency, resonates the sound in a more profound way. And so I think that, like, all these things that are stacking up, right? Whether you're, a low EMF, whether it's the way the sound comes out, that we've stacked what we've done from a scientific perspective on the Dreamer in a place that just really resonates with the human experience. And, like getting away from technology, getting away from your phone being right next to you, um, actually plays a bigger factor, I think, than most people really understand or realize. Like how your phone next to you at bed, next to you watching a movie with your spouse, your it it is like literally pounding at your head.
It's a
Not
disruptor.
for sure.
I mean,
For sure.
I honestly, my iPhone is a very expensive picture taker and texter. That's it. I'm not going to use it for anything else. Most people don't even, maybe five or six people even have my phone number, but I don't want it near me. Now it's on my desk right now because I was expecting a call and it already came through. But once we're done, I'm going to take it back to the living room and plug it in and walk away.
Well, that's something that most of us don't do.
Oh, I have
Right.
to.
And I applaud you for doing that.
But it doesn't make sense to me to be disrupted constantly. It's kind of like waking up in the morning and before the devil can say, oh crap, she's awake, you're checking your email, you're checking your phone. You don't even have to get out of bed if it's sitting right there next to you. That's disruption. That's in my opinion, a very bad way to start the day.
I 100% agree with that. Our phones are a great tool, uh, but they cause more harm than we are willing to. I think the they cause more harm than, like, on a general perspective, we're willing to accept.
I
Right.
agree with you, and I agree with, all the things that are coming off of that phone, but for a while, I was trying to, because I love to read. I'll read the back of a cereal box if that's the only thing that's available to me, and I love to listen to audio, books by people that I know, people that I've had on this show, and I would, put myself to sleep or try to put myself to sleep with Audible on. That didn't work. I mean, I was waking up irritated, or I would wake up because I would hear something, "Oh, I need to go write that down." It was disrupting me, so I don't do that anymore.
Well, and I've done that before, and all of a sudden I'm asleep with 5 chapters past where I was going with Audible. So, like, "Oh
Yeah,
my god, I gotta go back." I didn't remember where I was, but,
it doesn't work, and I was thinking, "Oh, I'll learn by osmosis." Nope, you just get cranky, so don't do that.
I mean, ultimately what we're doing is, and as I said before, like, there's no easy button, but we're trying to get, whether it's adults, professionals, families, people with everyone with a brain, right? To be able to
Right.
have, some sort of reset, some sort of, take away from technology. And I think, for myself too, I've told people, it's like, well, why wouldn't you use your phone? Well, I love meditation apps. We've talked about meditation a little bit in our call today. And, I've got this, I think it's 10% happier, or there's a lot of meditation apps. If I don't have, my do not disturb, man, I guarantee you 3 minutes in, I have notifications on my phone, and it
Mm-mm.
breaks everything up, right? You're like, oh my God, like, excuse me.
I'm smiling because when I
Wow.
start hiccuping, it can go for a long time, and after a while, I
I
start
just don't
saying,
understand.
"Really?"
This doesn't stop.
Well, what I do when it happens, and it's probably gonna happen now that we've talked, it's been a while. After a while, I start seeing really bad words because after a while it hurts. I hope you're gonna, you know, not hiccup all day like I've done, because after a
I
while
hope
you're like,
not.
"Oh, geez, there's got to be a way to stop this. Maybe I'll just put a pillow over my face."
I'm trying to hold my breath, and I'm like, God, it's gonna stop at some point, and then boom, it comes back. But,
Yeah,
in
don't worry about it.
in terms of our technology, right? Like, I wear a health monitor called Whoop, right? And the great thing about Whoop is that there's no screen. So I literally have to go into my phone, or I have to go on my computer to find what my metrics are. And I think that it's a great thing. I don't wear an Apple Watch. I don't
No,
wear
I don't either.
things that are super connected because I don't want that extra um stimulation, right?
Not
On
only
my
that,
wrist. Like I've got
there's
my
no
phone already.
right, and there's no privacy. I mean, whatever goes into that app is being used for marketing. I don't like that.
So for a dreamer, right? Like we don't have a screen. We don't have, I mean, everything we do is trying to be intentional, right? Whether it's we've got blinking, we have the moon and the clouds as your buttons, but the stars also are, um, blue light regulating EMF, lights, right? So we have so much blue light, whether it's our phones, our computers, our LEDs with the stars are actually trying to mitigate that. I don't want something that's always forward facing, always giving me feedback, right? Like we don't need that necessarily in this world. I want something that's going to help me be calm, help me, you know, reset and not have oh my God, I'm trying to meditate and 3 minutes in, it's like my phone's buzzing. And it ruins the experience, right?
It
So
would have to. And while we're talking about meditation, I stick my head in the fridge. That's just kind of fun, but it does break me out of whatever, funk I was in. But the only time I've ever noticed that I'm able to meditate without even realizing it is when I'm walking the dog. And I walk her early in the morning. We work in the dark, early in the morning and late at night because I'm in the South. We have 2 seasons here, hot and hotter than hell. So we go out when the sun is not up. But I'll catch myself, "Oh, I'm doing a walking meditation." So my question, Josh, is if I take this machine with me and I start walking with her, am I gonna fall over? Am I going to get so relaxed that I fall asleep, or will it really help me just kind of enhance the walking meditation?
no, well, I mean, I think anybody that can get some sleep is worthwhile. But no, what we found and what I found personally is, the midday resets are very important. And so if you're going on a walk with your dog and you're playing the dreamer, you're getting the benefits of the frequencies, and just going to fall. You're
I'm
not going
going
to
to do
fall
that
over.
tonight. We're gonna go walk tonight. She's always calm, and I enjoy it as long as I'm, not in the South, we don't sweat, we glow. As long as I'm not glowing a lot, I'm happy out there, but I'm gonna take it out tonight and see how I feel. Well, I'm gonna do the 5 you mentioned 5 days. I'm going to do it 5 times in a row, and I'll let you know what happens.
Oh, please do. Yeah. And I think that's, again, one of those unintentional um benefits that we found. It's not just a sleep device, right? This is a wellness device. This is
Right.
something that helps put us into a really great place for calm, right? And sleep is a part of calm. And man, our days are so filled with stress, with, I mean, we talk about our phones, right? It's this email, it's that text, it's this notification. And for me, it's like, shit, I need sometimes just to put my phone away and say, "Hey,
Right.
I
I
don't
do it
need
all the
this,"
time.
right?
Yep. I'm my phone is not my enemy, but I don't love it. Never
Well,
have.
and I think with the dreamer, it gives you a better ability to reset, right? It's like that little push to say, "Hey, you know what? Like, put everything down. There's no screen here. We're your friend. We're your family. Here's here's some extra love," right? I think that's what a lot of us are missing, right? Is like we just kind of need to have a little bit of extra love, and sometimes it's a reset with a device that doesn't give us any feedback, which
And
is great.
right. And I like that part of it because we are so overwhelmed by feedback, whether we want it or asked for it or not. And and I was mentioning this to you in the green room, you have been racking up a lot of awards for this and a lot of, I mean, you're making a dent in this market.
We've been very proud of what we've done, and again, like you said, we've had some very great awards that have come our way, and I think that's because of y- the love and the passion that we have for our device and what we're hoping to give to families. I mean, ultimately, I think anything like this, you want to make money, you want to do well, you want to have some
You wanna have a legacy, and I think
you want
you've
to have a
got a
legacy, but
legacy.
I think part of like what makes the dreamer special too, and our team and what we're doing is, we want to have an impact on families. We want to have families that are, in a better position to do whatever they want to do. And that's a blanket statement, right? But like every family is different. So like, how do we impact families? And sleep, calm, reset, everything that the dreamer can help deliver makes a difference for your family, right? I mean, Christ, as parents, it's like, you have moments where you're like, my God, I am so stressed. I can't do this right now. If you have, sit there with the dreamer for 10 minutes, you have a better ability to go back to your kids, to go back to your life and say, you know what? Everything's okay, right? Like we're exactly where we need to be. And I think that reset is more important than people give it credit for.
And I think we don't. I know I don't. I'm really just kind of telling on myself here, but I know better. I know when I need to reset. I know when my creativity is just, then I'll be in the kitchen. Meet me there. It's just, but I think we don't pay sufficient attention to those moments when we're just worn out. I mean, I'm in front of a monitor all day. I'm a web developer. I'm writing code. I'm yelling at ChatGPT. ChatGPT hung up on me one time because I told him I call him Uncle Chat. He kept giving me the same broken code over and over again. And I called him an idiot and a liar. And I think I got pretty nasty. And he said, Denise, I'm going to go to bed now. And it left. It just went away and came back the next day. But, when you get that stressed and you did it to yourself, you need to I think what I'm trying to say is take those moments and go, hang on a second, what's going on here? Why am I mad at ChatGPT? Why do I want to bite the cat's tail? What's going on here? And then reset, whether it's grabbing, this tool, this machine, the dreamer, or going outside and kicking a tire. You've got to reset. And you need to pay attention to those moments and not just, oh, I'll power through it. Powering through things is where you make big mistakes.
And I think that in that same sense, right? Like we downplay the importance of 10 minutes,
Right.
right? Like give yourself 10 minutes, 5 minutes to reset. I mean, I've got my son running around the house right now, and there he's just such a happy boy. But there's sometimes where it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it.
Yeah.
Okay, give yourself 5 minutes. Give yourself, and with the dreamer too, the ability to have these frequencies that just say like, hey, you know what, like this is having a big impact on my life. A 5 minute reset is really important.
It is, and mine is living in my living room most of the time because if I'm not here in my office, it's a great room. It's a big room, so I can hear it from wherever I am in that part of the house. And then when I go to bed, eventually, oh, I think I can go to sleep now, and then I'll haul it with me. I probably need another one, and I'm just thinking that, most families need multiples of these for different rooms and, for travel, and I think having just one, even when you're like me as a single person living alone with cats and a dog, I think one is probably not enough.
Well, we definitely designed it to be mobile and go with anybody anywhere, but I agree with you. I mean, we, the unintentional unintentional design of this, like we have one with our kids. My wife and I fall asleep to it every night. And we know the impact, right? And it's it's interesting because sometimes we'll be watching a show, we'll be doing, whatever we're doing to decompress from the day, and we've gotten to the point where it's like something's missing. What's missing? Oh, oh my god, we got to turn the dreamer on, and it's like one of those things where it turns on, and our bodies, our brains, kind of say, "Oh, okay, it's time for sleep." And I think that's part of that, also that routine and that consistency where you can say, "Oh," and it's almost like an internal alarm in
Well,
in
that makes sense.
in an
That really
opposite way,
does.
in a calming way, right? Where you're like, "Oh,
Right.
time for sleep." Like, it is time to reset. It's time to, uh, um, have a moment of calm, and we, as humans, adults in a very, very busy world, we forget to do that more often than not.
We
Um,
ignore it. I think we're ignoring our health when we don't take those moments or, turn on the machine or stick your head in the refrigerator or freezer, whatever's gonna work. But you have to be aware that they're happening, and I think this is just me observing other people and myself. If you're not paying attention, those moments just kinda go past you, and you can't figure out why you're exhausted. You've got a headache, you're thirsty, you hate everybody. All of a sudden, you're like, "What happened to me?"
it I think the older we get, it's like a slap in the face, right? It, they said, "What happened to me?" Like, what all of a sudden, I don't feel good. Um, so, Dreamer offers an ability, and I mean, with this, you have to be somewhat intentional as well, right?
Well, I
It
think that's what I'm trying to say, and I'm saying it poorly, but yes, you're right.
it's not something that just turns on, right? It's not connected to your brain, but if you're intentional about wanting to be healthier, have a little bit more peace, have, some introspective thoughts, I mean, it is one of those things where yeah, you throw on the dreamer, and I guarantee you that you're gonna feel a little bit lighter.
Well, and this isn't just about sleep. I mean, it is in many, many ways for both the children and the parents. Because I don't know about you, once I'm jerked awake, I stay awake. I'm not able to, or if I'm having a
Yep.
bit of a nightmare, I'm a lucid dreamer, which can get tricky, and I'll wake myself up and say, "Change the channel," because I don't like what I'm dreaming about, but it's very often, very difficult for me to get back to sleep.
Yeah. No, I resonate with that completely. Right? Your brain starts running, um it's hard to go back down, and I think sometimes having something in the background that just says, "Hey, like, chill out, calm down, everything's okay." Because we're hard on ourselves, right?
Oh,
Most of us are
yeah,
not. It's not like, "Hey, man, everything's great. No problem. You're fine." No, our brains don't say that, right? Our brains are somewhat, um,
critical.
they're very
Honestly,
critical.
if we all talk to ourselves, we all have these loops that we keep treading down and, but, it honestly, Josh, if anybody spoke to me in a Walmart parking lot the way I catch myself speaking to me, I would need bail money. Just stop talking to yourself
Yeah,
sometimes, just
absolutely.
calm it down. Can you share any success stories or feedback from families who've used the dreamer?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've had, that I think that's probably the best thing for us is hearing back from families. I mean, we've had people who have used it, for example, and then they kind of forget about it. I think it's one of those things sometimes where you don't know what you're missing sometimes. And all of a sudden it was like their kids going through a sleep regression or something's happening. And I think that this particular family I'm thinking of, the father was like, Where, where's that dreamer thing that we got? And they played it and their kid went to sleep and the family went to sleep. And they reached out to us and they said, I can't tell you how much this has impacted our family in the most positive way. Um, and we've had a lot of stories like that, right? Where, people are just, the dreamer has impacted their family in such a positive way. And I think that's the thing that resonates for us as a company the most, right? Like as I said before, any company wants to make money, but we did this ultimately because we found there was a gap in the industry. We wanted ourselves, our families, people who we knew to have a better experience with sleep, a better experience with their kids. I mean, you spend so much time, with your little ones, and you just want them to be the best they can be. And I think the biggest thing as parents, we want to be the best versions of ourselves for our kids, right? If your kid's not sleeping, you're not sleeping, then you're
No,
cranky and you're
right.
you're irritable.
And then you're
So
dangerous. I mean, you can do some damage with words or, yelling at them. You can do some damage and not even recognize it.
and it, and then you go in the bathroom and you're like, what the hell was that? I'm tired. I'm just really tired. And again, as I've said, there's no easy button. Like, this isn't like, oh my God, you got the dreamer, you're going to sleep for the rest of your life. No, like, we know that there's variables, but we want to give people the opportunity to be the best versions of themselves. And when our kids see that, when we feel that, um, it's a game changer.
And you know what I'm
So,
hearing from you the most is, and I wrote these words down, is calm and peace. It's not just necessarily about sleep. And I think those 2 words are very, very important.
calm is, man, calm is something that I feel like we just don't have, even in um, a community basis, right? Like, we're not conditioned to be calm. We're conditioned to be irritable. We're conditioned to say, "Oh my God, this is crazy. Can you believe that? Can you see that? Did you see that? Did you hear that?"
Stay
Take
off
a
of
breath.
the news, by the way, it's propaganda. But yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
anytime I accidentally hear something from the news, which I don't turn my TV on, but, I'll go to X and it'll bleed through and I instantly start clutching my stomach and saying bad words. I get out of there. I don't wanna hear it. I don't wanna hear the propaganda. I'll make my own, if I believe it, I'll research it. But if you're a talking head, I'm not gonna believe a word you said, so get out of my face.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do we reset? How do we get back
Right.
to? And I think the dreamer is one of those things of, you know, a tool to get back to the basics. What's important, right? What are the things that matter the most to us in our lives? Um, Calm, going through issues, or, I mean, as a parent, right? Like, you're especially, all of us who are young parents. It's like, I had no idea it was going to be this hard, right? Like, all of a sudden something happens and you're like, oh my God, what the hell just happened?
Right.
Do How do I respond? And so I think it's one of those things that, like, we want, or we hope that, that this sense of calm is a trend, right? It's not just oh, I need 10 minutes on a Thursday, right? It's like, no,
No, but
like,
you can teach yourself to be calm,
100%.
but you have to be aware enough to teach yourself is what I'm hearing.
And I think it goes back to that, being intentional, right? And I think that also that has an impact on your kids, right? Like, how can I be intentional about the way I approach the world? right? Like I'm not going to be a reactionary person. I'm going to be very intentional about how I stay calm, how issues come in, and how I deal with those issues.
And I'm writing down all kinds of things while you're talking because, as I've mentioned, I'm a web developer by trade, and I love building websites. I can build them in my sleep, literally. Think and dream in HTML, believe it or not. But every once in a while, and this is rare because I'm very careful about who I choose to bring on as clients, about once every 5 or 6 years, I'll get somebody that I instantly regret it, and I'm going to have to fire them, and I'm going to have the difficult conversations, or I'm going to have to charge them what I call a pain in the ass tax because they're that
Mhm.
bad. But
An
I'm
FUP.
yeah. Well, I'm thinking honestly that when I know I'm going to have one of these really difficult conversations, I should turn on the meditation before I even dial that number.
Absolutely. I mean, even with us, it's, we spent 3 years doing this, right? Like going through the research and trying to find all the science. And it was a very interesting and fun process. And I'll tell you, like the second part of, selling the product is, we've had great feedback, but there are times when it's like, oh my God, this is really hard. And we forget sometimes that we've created this device. And it's like, oh my God, you're really stressed. Turn the dreamer on, chill out, reset, move forward. I mean, I would even, you
You
know,
need to make a sign. That could be a good sign. I'm gonna write that on my whiteboard.
it's just, I think it's one of those things where we, again, as people who have dedicated the last 3-4 years to creating this device, we forget ourselves, right? That, like, my God, there's a lot going on. Take a breath, put the dreamer on, get a reset. Um, Even my wife sometimes is like, you need to go sit over and out back and put the dreamer on. And it's like, what?
You got sent to the doghouse.
In the best way possible, right?
Right.
Um, so it's, I as humans, like we forget, right? We not even forget. We just, life is hard,
Well, we
and
allow
being
ourselves to get
intentional
overwhelmed, and that's the easiest thing for us to do is get overwhelmed. And then we have to stop and fight our way back, which is
for
just
sure,
time consuming and it's not healthy.
for sure.
Interesting. Listen, we are out of time, and I hate that we're out of time because to me this is a fascinating conversation. What is one key takeaway that you want our listeners to remember about creating healthy sleep habits and peace and calm for their families?
Wow, that's loaded, isn't it? I think that I hope people um remember, understand, and are intentional about how much sleep and the quality of sleep can actually affect everything in your life. All of your relationships, especially as, as parents, sleep does the lack of sleep, let's say, um, is the most detrimental aspect to your health, right? I mean, obviously, if you don't drink water, if you don't eat, you're going to be in a bad place. But I'll tell you what, if you don't sleep, drinking water is not going to be a problem.
Now, isn't it? I think I read somewhere that humans can go maybe 11 days without sleep and then they die
It,
or
it is,
something like that. It's a short period.
and I'll tell you, Denise. I mean, this guy, I'll send you his book, Matthew Walker. I mean, it is like the first 3 pages of his book at least made me go, holy shit. Like this is more important than I could ever have imagined, right? And especially for men, whether it's testosterone levels or men and women being pre-diabetic. I mean, the lack of sleep is tantamount to killing yourself. And I don't say that lightly, right? I mean, it is, if you don't get the quality of sleep, and I know you said, like, there are people who get 8 hours of sleep, but it's light sleep, and you may, Denise, get 4 or 5 hours of sleep with really great sleep results. So everyone's a little bit different. But when you don't sleep, when humans don't sleep, it has a tremendous effect on our health. And so, it's a very overlooked aspect of our lives, right? We can eat better, we can, not drink, we can um not eat sugar, whatnot. Okay, great. If you're not sleeping, it doesn't matter. It ultimately does not matter. So
You
we,
need rest, and your
you
brain
need
needs
rest.
rest.
So, that's kind of our biggest thing. Like, we want people to be the best versions or we hope that people want to be the best versions of themselves. And so the dreamer adds that even if, again, we go back to, if it's at 1%, 2%, if our device helps you a little bit, we've won. And you've won more than we have, right? So
Good
we're
point.
excited about that.
Right. Well, listen, Josh, as we wrap up, how can people find you? Where do they go to find you and the dreamer? What do you
So
want to know?
yeah, we are sleepwithdreamer.com. If you're on Instagram, we're at sleepwithdreamer, and we're on Amazon, Walmart, Nordstrom. Um, but the easiest way is to go to sleepwithdreamer.com. We've got a ton of, really great information that we've talked about today. And we just hope that people take their sleep and their rest a little more seriously.
And this is December. This just popped into my little pea brain, but this is December and it's Christmas time.
It is. We're very excited about the holidays, so we're, actually going to be running a holiday discount. The holidays are tough. You sleep, go visit families and whatnot. So that
Being in
sleep and those
airplanes.
reset can actually really mean a lot, right? So we're going to be running a 20% off discount for the holidays. We have an additional discount when you buy two. So we're just, we're very excited for more and more people to join. I mean, to join our movement, I guess I would say, right? And that movement is, again, calm. It is, how do you approach life with just a deeper sense of having a big breath, or when you have the hiccups, your entire podcast not going, not like beating yourself up, right? And
Uh-uh.
trying to have, like, I'm human. Like, we're all human. Like, life is
Right.
hard. Life is really hard. And I don't think that we give ourselves enough credit for that. And within that, it's incumbent on us to give ourselves the time, reflection, sleep to, again, be the best versions of ourselves. And sometimes the hiccups come on, and instead of, and I think that's one thing I've learned a lot, right? Is that, man, like, there are certain things that I can't control, and I can't control having the hiccups, but I can control my response and my reaction to it. And, you know, the dreamer helps with facilitating that. If that makes sense, right? It's just, it's like a routine of gratitude, and loving life, and what's going on, and not everything's going to go right, but um, life's pretty damn good.
I agree with you. And honestly, send me when we're done here, I'll give you a call, but send me the information on the discount for Christmas and I'll make sure that our audience hears about it, knows about it, and I'll get it out there for you.
Absolutely, that'd be fantastic.
Oh, my pleasure. And thank you for the book. I can't wait to read that. Well, listen, everybody, the conversation we're having today is about sleep and rest and peace. And parents can lose more than a month of sleep in that first year. And anyone dealing with stress or noise knows how disruptive poor rest can be. It kind of turns us into little exhausted drones
Oh my
sometimes.
goodness.
I mean, it really does. The more tired and exhausted you are, the less you bring to the world and yourself. So the Dreamer sound machine was designed to help, blending 432 hertz. Is that right? Hertz?
Yep, 432
Okay.
and 528 hertz.
528
Yeah.
hertz
Yeah.
frequencies into soothing soundscapes, and they are soothing. I love mine that calm the nervous system and support deeper, more restorative sleep, even if you're somebody like me that doesn't require or even want a whole lot of sleep. But when I do sleep with this machine next to me, it's peaceful. I'm not starting awake and, waking up and going, what the heck was that? I'm actually sleeping. So for babies, for families, for people like me, it's a simple, effective way to bring a little more rest back into the home and keep you sane. Let's not forget that part. You get to keep your sanity. And you can learn more about Josh and the Dreamer at dreamer.com and follow Quiet Time on social media for updates and resources. Thank you for joining us. I'm Denise Griffitts, and I will see you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Josh, thank you so much.
Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Great conversation.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Get your voice heard. If you would like to launch your own far-reaching podcast, contact Denise Griffitts at yourofficeontheweb.com and go to the podcast tab.